What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosling. That's the one, the only, Mr. Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
Always trying to find out what to play next. Amongst all of these releases is hard. I have to buckle down.
Dude, what are you playing?
I think I'm going back for Wallworld.
Oh, what a great game. If you haven't seen it, go check out our review. It is live over on our YouTube channel, on our website, insidethegame.ca, youtube.com/insidethegame official. We just recently changed it, so I'm still kind of going back to the old ways. But while you're there,
your scripts in there.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. Dude, Wallworld is incredible. What a loop. It was just such that hook, and it just had me to the point now. Here's the thing. Dude, my PC's downstairs, right? Upstairs, I got the G Cloud unit from Logitech, and I'm on that, tapping into my computer in my room while I'm about to go to crash for the night. I'm going, hey, I'll just get a run. I'll just get a 20-minute run in here, right? To upgrade everything else in my ship and things like that. Oh, it's so good. Definitely check that out. What else you can check out is us normally live at noon Eastern over on Twitch and YouTube. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Dude, you ready for this week's or today's show? Yeah, check out the weekly show too. Make sure you don't miss that one.
Oh, I am very excited for this week's weekly show coming up. I will not speak more on it.
Fair enough.
Try not to.
But today's show, Scott, for ITG Daily, is Respawn lets Cal keep all of his powers from Jedi Fallen Order and carry them over to Jedi Survivor. And where did Phil Harrison go? What's going on there? And a new Game Plus mode is out for one of last year's best games of all time, Scott. I'm calling it. I just snapped that up pretty good. Dude, let's get into it because I want to talk about it. It is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Let's Cal keep his Fallen Order powers because he's no longer a Padawan. Dude, that's awesome. I think that is the biggest highlight, right? Going from the first game into the sequel. Here we go. No longer do you have to go, oh, you've been stripped of all your powers. Now what do you do? Right? How often do you get that experience in a sequel, Scott?
Oh, every Assassin's Creed ever.
You know what? You're not wrong. That is a fantastic comparison. Yeah.
You spend about 10 minutes being a superhero and then the rest of the game recovering it, which makes sense.
Yeah, you got to build up something.
I'm so happy to see there's going to be something new with the motions, though. We're not just relearning what we did last game.
No, for sure. Dude, I'm going to let you take this one. Why don't you take it? Go away. Go for it.
It turns out that Cal Kestis will get to keep all of his powers from the first game. The problem with video game sequels that follow on from games where you end up quite powerful is that they have to figure out how to nerf the player character so the game isn't so easy. Turns out that Star Wars Jedi Survivor isn't doing that, as Cal will apparently have all of his abilities from the first game. In an interview with Games Radar, design director Jason DeHarris and senior director of production Kasumi Shishido explained how they came at that decision and the challenges that it took to get it right. Quote, "We knew we wanted his skills to continue in Survivor, and that was one of the challenges." End quote. He explained, "We had to kind of tweak enemies to handle this new power from the start. We don't want to take away any of these moves because they feel good. You can't go backwards and feel like a Padawan. It has to feel that the power level is the same, but also you have to reach another level." End quote. "It's a cool move and makes a fresh change from how sequels usually go down. We recently saw, for example, the upcoming Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Link will have to start from scratch when it comes to his hearts and energy, likely due to him getting hurt as seen in previous trailers." Yeah, Link's always waking up or from something on a beach or in his bed. Either way. Shishido also noted that, quote, "It's been 5 years since Fallen Order, and we want the player to feel like Cal has been through a lot. He's no longer a Padawan." The director of production noted that Cal isn't Yoda and that, quote, "he hasn't mastered everything yet. So there's still a lot of things that he can learn," end quote. Star Wars Jedi Survivor was meant to be out in March, but received a delay till April 28th, making it just a few weeks away now.
Dude, we were so close. I cannot wait to get back into Star Wars again. My wife and I, it was funny. My wife, though dude, Jedi Fallen Order was a single player game, but my wife and I shared the controller back and forth throughout the entire game. So we almost played like it was
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Hey,
it was a ton of fun.
There's an old school way of doing co-op. Friends and I used to do this, actually. One of you is this hand, and the other one is this
Oh,
hand.
that's weird. No, I ain't doing that.
It is super weird, but it works out in a lot of games. And if you don't believe me, play Blanc.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fair. Well, you can do that. Blanc is on the Switch too, so you can each have your own controller.
It's made to do that, yeah.
Dude, I'm glad we're not starting over, right? I think this is a cool little thing, a little bit of info that we don't normally get, nor do we actually see it happen in a game. Because like you just mentioned, dude, every Assassin's Creed, we start from ground zero and work our way up to become the ultimate assassin. Here, Cal's already had these powers for a long time. Granted, when you take a look too, if you go to God of War, for example, from God of War 2018 to God of War Ragnarok, there's another whole skill tree to kind of overcome and stuff like that. And, you know, it works. It's a beautiful game done incredibly well. So it's not to take away from Kratos whatsoever, or Atreus for that matter. But here we are. Cal's not getting dummied down in a sense, really, what it comes down to, right? Oh, it's a sequel? Well, you have to start at ground zero. Cal fell off and bumped his head, so he's got no memory. Now you got to rebuild. Like, you know what I mean? Dude, they could have taken that approach.
They could have, but I like this much better. It is quite a problem writing-wise to make that make sense. Yeah, if you're Ezio Auditore, you shouldn't be weak in your second showing, right? That doesn't make sense. But in this case, it actually does seem like they're adding more skills, more skill trees to explore in addition to what we've already had. So I'm seeing talk of dual wielding lightsabers. I'm seeing talk of blasters, even though they are quite uncivilized, as the quote goes.
It's one of those, dude, how are they going to introduce people to get familiar, right? We've been away for 5 years basically from this game. Dude, I can't believe it's been that long. That's crazy.
Oh, it certainly hasn't. There's no way. That game came out must have been 2019.
3 years ago. So it's been anyways a couple of years, right? So how do you reintroduce us to the mechanics that we were so comfortable with before? It's one thing to build up over time as you play the game, get introduced to new mechanics. That just becomes like feeling like home. But then to get tossed into it and you haven't been in there in years, all of a sudden now you're like, here's your foray of things you left behind. Go at it. And then here's a bunch of new stuff too. What a juggling act that must have been for Respawn. Dude, I cannot wait.
Very busy first act of that game, if I had any guesses.
Does that make you concerned at all for the pacing?
Only because I think that onboarding process that you're talking of, you know, the first game has come and went. If you didn't play it, well, you don't have those skills maybe. So I hope there's enough of a tutorial that it gets into the game, but also doesn't take too long to explain what's going on.
No,
it's always a balance with tutorials for me. I don't like hand holding, but I also like a tutorial.
Yeah, some games don't do it well at all, and others I find I'm trying to remember the last one that just nailed it. It just felt like, oh, cool. Sometimes as you get thrown throughout the story, they introduce elements, but they feel natural as it comes to you within the game, and then that just kind of makes you want to play more. Dude, some of them just nail it.
Some of them are so much all at first though. You remember Plan B? That one took a little while for me to get used to.
Yeah, no doubt.
Some disastrous first clears.
It was rough. Yeah, trial and error on that one. Dude, 2019 is when Fallen Order came out.
I thought so, yeah.
So it's almost been 5 years, really. Dude, it's like coming up on 4 years, really. That's not bad at all. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to jumping back in. I feel like I've been away forever. Well, it feels like almost 10 years at this point because it's been gone so long. So it'd be nice to get back in with Cal. I cannot wait to find out a story. We've seen bits of previews popping up all over the place. I'm trying not to take a look because I want to go in as, you know, as stealthily as possible and kind of get that wow factor.
Get the blind sight, yeah. Get in there and not knowing too much and get blown away. I'm wondering if we're going to be able to flirt with the dark side.
Ooh.
I've been playing a lot of Harry Potter lately.
Did you finish Fallen Order?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Spoilers for Fallen Order 1. So, yeah, just bear with us, I guess. You got about 2 minutes. Dude, what color did you make your lightsaber?
Oh, does that have an effect on the new game? Because I really hope so. Man,
okay, so I went with purple. I want my purple.
Went with purple.
Yeah, dude, I want my purple lightsaber when I start off the game. Like, you gonna carry that over for me? Because that would be an incredible little touch. Oh, that'd be so
I hope
awesome.
they don't pull out some of the extended universe where we're having lightsaber maces and lightsaber shields. Those are extended universe canon, so I'm not sure if they're accepted anymore, but
yeah.
Just when it comes to adding new stuff to a Star Wars game, what do you do? What can you add?
I saw the customization options have been enhanced quite a bit. Cal, you can actually groom, I'll say. Right before we were just kind of swapping out colors of his outfits and things like that. Now it seems to be a little bit more in depth and stuff. Dude, I
I give
cannot
him my
wait.
hair.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Your beard, I saw, but
There we go.
I'll give him my gray beard with his red hair.
No, I want my character to look like Moist Critical.
There it is. Scott, let's jump into what's next. Speaking of Google, ex-Stadia boss Phil Harrison has reportedly left Google. Jordan Miller of VGC. Phil Harrison, former boss of Google's now defunct cloud-based gaming service, Google Stadia, has reportedly left the company. According to Business Insider, citing 2 Google employees with knowledge on the matter, the vice president departed the company in January at roughly the same, I can say that's supposed to be time, Scott. Google officially killed this long-suffering cloud service, which Harrison fronted. Announcing the Stadia closure plans in September 2022, platform general manager Harrison admitted that the service hadn't gained the traction with users that Google expected following its November 2019 launch. Quote, a few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia, Harrison said at the time. And while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with the users we expected. So we made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. End quote. Scott, I don't want to beat a dead horse to death.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to bring it up. The fact that they didn't have any exclusives at all. Dude, not like just barely any. And that's why your service died. Like, it's not hard to figure out.
They recruited Jade Raymond, and everybody thought that was, okay, here it is. We're going to see it take off, and it just didn't.
Right? There's your saving grace. You brought in one of the top developers, one of the most well-respected developers around. And now where's Jade? She's actually owned, she started up Haven Studios, which then got purchased by PlayStation. That's where Jade's at now. So if you're looking for her, go get a PlayStation because that's what's coming. But dude, what they could have had was something magical coming out of Jade, hopefully, for Stadia, which then could have sparked a whole whack of other things to kind of keep that service alive.
Oh, we only had 2 exclusives to my knowledge. One was the one we played.
Guilt?
Was that Guilt? Yeah, Guilt.
Yep.
And then there was Hello Neighbors. Or, sorry, not Hello Neighbor. Hello Engineer.
Nah.
That was a spin-off of Hello Neighbor, and that's why it was struggle to remember. That was awful.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I did not like that game at all. That one didn't seem to work for me. But either way, it's just sad, right? Yeah, but no big surprise to see Phil leave at all. The platform he was there for is gone. The fact that
evaporated,
like, what's he gonna do now? Google. He's so heavily invested in the gaming side of things. You would expect him to go somewhere. Where is he at? Nobody really. I don't know, dude. I don't really know where he's gone next. But we hopefully will see Phil return. I think that's the biggest shining star, is that Phil is such a well-respected individual within the gaming space. It'd be nice to have him at least be a part of it still. But
I haven't heard the name for quite some time.
No.
So I hope it moves on to something more successful.
It's just Stadia. Man, I tell you. What could have been, Scott? We keep kind of going with what Stadia laid the groundwork towards, and then you see Xbox take off with it. And then you see in PlayStation now get in the streaming side, right? There's so many other people that kind of jumped in and now have this streaming platform up and running and functioning off of the heels of the fact that Stadia started it all. Everybody's like, nah, this doesn't work. And they're like, yeah, it does. Watch. Dude, it worked. I loved my Stadia. Like, it's just, but speaking of love, dude, God of War, I love that one too. But it's got a new Game Plus mode. Woohoo! PlayStation and Santa Monica Studios just announced the highly awaited new Game Plus mode for God of War Ragnarok is now available. To make sure you are all ready to jump back into Kratos and Atreus' boots, PlayStation has put together a list of everything we need to know, Scott. You can challenge the way you play. New Game Plus introduces new equipment and increases the level cap and new enchantments. As soon as you beat the base game, you will be able to dive back into the new Game Plus, save the experience, the story again, and a whole bunch of more things to do, which is always cool to see. New equipment, armor appearances, new level cap. Scott, I mentioned this to you before we actually started the show. And your question came up real quick was, are you jumping back in? And I said,
yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, you had a rather quick no, which surprised me.
But here's the okay, cool. We get new gear, new equipment, new whatever, right? It doesn't change the story for me. And then that's kind of where I'm not one of those to go back to replay the single player game. There are times when like I wrap that up and go, yo, that was sick. I'm gonna go start another one. Dude, I was here for a long time playing Ragnarok. Loved every minute of it. Part of me wants to go back just to get the platinum. I'll never finish it. I'll never be able to get that platinum. It's just not gonna happen.
No.
Just due to time constraints, I won't be able to do that.
That's fair.
That's what kind of holds me back, right? But at the same time, once I've dude, it's like I don't watch movies over and over again.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Actually, yeah.
There's a couple maybe that I'll watch. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that in a long time. I'll watch that again. But often I'm like, what's new? And that's just me and my personality. I know some people will go, yo, I just finished this and I play it every single year, right?
I know somebody who, and I'm gonna misrepresent this, so I'm sorry, Sean, but I know somebody who beat Dark Souls 1 at least 5 times in a row. Would beat it and immediately start a new one. And I'm so not that kind of person, but it was incredible for me to see the mastery behind the control scheme. And it's Dark Souls, so it has that challenge. But I see God of War could have that same appeal to somebody out there.
Absolutely.
I hope there's an acknowledgement, though. I wish one of these games, you know, if Kratos goes in New Game Plus, he wakes up and goes, haven't I done this already? Like, again?
Here we go again.
I had a weird dream, bar.
Yeah. So I know I'm glad that they put it in the game. Sony Santa Monica Studios, sorry. They have a huge following. Dude, I love God of War and what they've done since 2018 and brought it over. It changed the whole outcome for me for Kratos and Atreus. Introducing Atreus really kind of brought everything else to a more personal ground that I could relate to with Kratos, and they've really expanded that a lot. I'm more now looking forward to see what happens next, right? Versus jumping back in to play again. I'll probably jump back in because I like to goof around in the photo mode. I just jumped back into Horizon Forbidden West, getting ready, but I'm getting ready for Burning Shores, right? So I'm kind of going around, bouncing around, doing some of the challenges, getting familiar again with the control scheme, because after bouncing out, you come back in, you go, man, what am I doing again? So here I am going, oh yeah, right. So things are starting to fall back into place. But Burning Shores is at the midpoint of the month. So that's why I'm back into, otherwise I probably wouldn't be back into Aloy again.
New actual story content for you to bite into.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds as though you've pretty much wrung all the enjoyment you can out of God of War for now.
For now, right? There's always something to go back to. You know what game I keep going back to, honestly? Is Red Dead 2, thinking I should go back into online mode. I download it, jump in for about 30 seconds and go, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah, I find myself every time I go to that game a half hour later and I've done nothing but watch animals run around.
It's so beautiful, man.
When I discovered the sky in that game. I've never seen that many stars with my own eyes.
Oh man, it's what an incredible game. But again, you can do that in God of War as well and get lost in that world too. Because there was a couple times I caught myself going, man, this is so cool. What a cool, man. All right, maybe I should go back.
There you go. Maybe just a photo challenge maybe for you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It'd be worth, okay. All right, I can do it, Scott. I'll do it. All right, now let's move on, man. Amazon's gaming division is laying off over 100 employees. Are we nervous for Amazon, or be surprised that they're even still in this industry at all, gaming? Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not terribly surprised, but the surprise is really that it's such a series of fumbles.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of what it comes down to. This is Tom Ivan over at VGC. Amazon has announced plans to cut over 100 employees from its video games division. In a memo to staff obtained by CNBC, Amazon Games Vice President Christoph Hartmann said the layoffs would be spread across the company's Game Growth Group, its San Diego development studio, and Prime Gaming. Some employees will also be reassigned to other projects that match our strategic focus, he said. The cuts in Amazon Games division are part of a wider restructuring efforts. This is what they always say at the company. Last month, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said it planned to lay off an additional 9,000 employees on top of the 18,000 job cuts announced earlier this year. Quote, "There is never a pleasant way to share this sort of news, but we are committed to treating our impact employees with empathy and respect, and will support them by offering them severance pay, health insurance benefits, outplacement services, and paid time to conduct their job search," end quote. Hartmann told staff in the games division this week. There's never easy.
I know some of that is legally necessary, but that seems to go a step above as well. I want to say.
Absolutely. How many times have you heard, yeah, we just got cut and that was it? Like hung out to dry. Twitter kind of comes to mind most recently, right? Like,
yeah. Well, in my personal life, my father used to work for Rogers. They said the same thing. We're restructuring.
yeah, and it's just a minor adjustment of a few words, and then that's it, right? Unfortunately, people are they're gone. So, yeah, man, this sucks. 100 people isn't a lot, I guess, overall to the company of that size, but it's still affected to individuals, and that's never easy.
I can tell you, for each of those 100, it's big enough.
No, absolutely. One is too many, right? In my eyes, one is too many, but it's, oh man. Yeah. Heart goes out to everybody. Hopefully they can find a job somewhere. The games industry is always looking to hire somebody. So I think that's the bright side of it all, is that hopefully if it works out. Industry. Yeah, this industry's huge.
I don't want to blame management and the captain of the ship in this case, although I have serious question as to what's going on at Amazon.
Absolutely.
I don't know anything enough to put any blame in this. It could have just been happenstance. Things don't work out sometimes. Amazon is having a really hard time when it comes to games.
Dude, they're having a very challenging time. I think that's what it really comes down to, right? If these games were launching and going successfully, would they be in a different place, right? Like that's what we saw. Crucible come and go. New World, never hear about that. Lost Ark is something that's been their latest, and then they're working on right now some unannounced game over in Montreal. Maybe that's a saving grace. Like, I don't know what's kind of keeping them afloat when it comes to the gaming side of things, but I guess time will tell if they last or if they kind of go the way like Stadia did.
Well, they don't have an Assassin's Creed mega IP to fall back on to kind of ride that, see that change out. But
no, absolutely, it's unfortunate for sure. So hopefully everybody can land on their feet, get things going, and then stick around in the games industry, because we all love it here. We like to keep going ahead, and hopefully things work around. But Scott, let's get into game announcements and releases today. Buddy, what do we got?
We have an announcement of Dead Island 2's storage size. This is very important, and especially in the newest consoles generation, as storage is very limited. But this actually comes from Michael Hardens at PSU, writing, "The game size has come up with the goods once more, revealing Dead Island 2 PS5 storage size ahead of the game's release later this month. According to a Twitter account, the preload is available as of April 19th. The game will weigh in at 48 gigabytes on PlayStation 5 and 19, just under 20 gigs on PlayStation 4. So not the biggest game I've ever seen, but also not small. You may have to plan for that. I know I will.
It is something to make sure you got space for, right? 50 gigs, honestly, is on the side of being smaller than usual. I think. Especially for a game that's been in development for so long. You think it'd be maybe a little bit bigger than that?
Yeah.
That's where I'm
at. Compare that to Dying Light 2, though, with 1,500 hours of gameplay, and I think that comes around 70, 80 gigabytes.
Yeah. It just seems like most games nowadays are at least 100 gigs, right? Like they're kind of floating in around 100 gigs. So to see something half that size is kind of out of the norm.
Call of Duty will hit 200, but
that's a
that's a combo package. But we do also have some full releases today. That is Batora Lost Haven on Switch, Curse of the Sea Rats on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, Switch, and PC. Everspace 2 has hit its full release on PC.
Woohoo!
And Paparazzi has made its way to Switch.
Dude, Paparazzi, I tell you. Yo,
I want to know, are you a dog taking pictures, or are you taking pictures of the dog?
I don't know. There's two games on here. Everspace 2, shout out to that game. Go check that out. That game is cool. We did a preview on it. Very cool game. And Batora, that one looks cool. Lost Haven, or Haven. Dude, that one looks awesome. I like the art style, and I'm definitely looking forward to kind of checking that one out. Have you seen anything on that one at all?
No, not that I recall, actually.
Fair enough. Dude, just like that, though, that's going to wrap up the show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can normally join us live at noon Eastern over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg, as well as youtube.com/InsideTheGameOfficial. But if you can't join us live, hit us up a little later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew, that's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.